The Threxari were not a warlike people. Their species, with its delicate glass-like physiology and shimmering translucent skin, had evolved on a low-gravity moon wrapped in violet fog and eternal twilight. They specialized in diplomacy, art, and interstellar trade negotiations. Not war, not weapons, not anything remotely destructive, which was precisely why, when the aggressive and barbaric Varnock Confederacy stormed the neutral zone and occupied 3 of their supply outposts, the Threxari Council did something they had never done in their entire peaceful history. They called for help, and they chose Earth. The reasoning was simple. Humans were known to be emotionally volatile but fiercely loyal. Dangerous, certainly, but only when provoked. Their history was a mad chronicle of wars, revolutions, blood-soaked peace treaties, and one particularly disturbing decade in which they strapped rockets to animals just to see what would happen. Yet, in modern galactic society, humans had tempered. They were seen as competent, intense, and occasionally terrifying, but reliable. So, the Threxari reached out. Their message was simple, even polite, to the Terran Unified Command. We respectfully request support in negotiating the safe return of 3 occupied logistical depots seized by Varnock forces in the neutral zones. This is not a declaration of war. We are requesting 1 diplomatic attaché or defense liaison to assist in discussions. Please respond with urgency. They sent it via diplomatic relay at standard transmission speeds. It arrived on Earth within 3 hours. They received a reply in less than 10 minutes. Message received. Stand by. That was it. No signature. No ambassadorial sign-off. No Terran flag emblem. Just those 2 words. The Threxari waited. 2 days passed. No updates. No delegation. No ship. No call. Then the sky over Threxari Prime darkened. It was not night. It was not a storm. It was a shadow. Above the thin clouds, a Terran fleet emerged from FDL, one by one, like metal beasts shaking off the dust of sleep. Not 1 ship. Not 2. 38. The Saber-class dreadnought Vindicator led the pack, followed by 3 Valkyrie carriers, 8 rapid deployment destroyers, orbital gunships, 2 atmospheric subjugation cruisers, and what looked like an entire flotilla of autonomous drones swarming in formation like a mechanical storm cloud. The Threxari scrambled into hiding domes, some praying, others vomiting from the sight. There was no warning. There was no landing. Just a message relayed directly to the Threxari Council chamber in Earth Standard Galactic Code. Humanity has heard your call. Stand clear. Within 15 minutes, the fleet dispersed. They didn't land, they injected. Drop pods the size of buildings slammed into the occupied outposts on the contested moons, shaking the crust, lighting up the sky like angry gods. No warning, no diplomacy, just impact. Varnock comms lit up across the quadrant. The invaders were routed within 42 minutes. Not killed, ejected. The human 56 Rapid Response Battalion, known unofficially as the Iron Wind, didn't aim to negotiate. They deployed with force calibrated to match orbital kinetic weapons, except with bodies. Their soldiers used magnetic boots to walk on walls, cloak shields to become invisible in the fog, and had AI-assisted reflexes that dodged bullets in real time. 1 Varnock cruiser tried to retreat. It was annihilated in less than a second by a pinpoint lance from the Vindicator. The humans never responded to surrender attempts. They didn't need to. The battlefield understood. The Threxari watched it all unfold from orbital satellites. Their diplomats wept, not from fear, from awe. They had asked for help. They had received judgment. When the dust settled and the last of the Terran drop units marched back into orbit, bloodless, efficient, expressionless, a single transmission arrived. It was from the commander of the human fleet, transmitted in calm, perfect Threxari dialect. This incursion is resolved. Please mark the coordinates as Terran assisted. No further Varnock movements expected. Request confirmation of acceptable force levels applied. The Threxari Council didn't know what to say. One of them, a junior delegate named HFY, nervously tapped the transmission interface and responded, Your assistance was noted. Perhaps slightly excessive? The human response came within seconds. Understood. Will reduce next response by 14%. Humanity stands ready. And then they left. No celebration. No press conference. No trade agreement. The fleet simply blinked out of existence, leaving no trace but scorched ground and Varnock wreckage drifting in space. Weeks passed. Whispers spread across the galactic community. It was one thing to fear humans, in theory. It was another to see them answer a cry for help with a god-tier military show of force that made Overkill feel like an understatement. The Varnock Confederacy quietly signed a non-aggression pact with Earth. No demands. No reparations. Just a silence and a signature. Other species took notice. Notably, the Xyrelian Command, longtime rivals of the humans, quietly pulled their recon drones from Earth orbit and dismantled 2 black site research stations. The Zern Syndicate, notorious arms traders, refused to sell anti-Terran weapons, citing irreversible liability. The Threxari, meanwhile, were caught in a public relations storm. Several galactic councils accused them of weaponizing human involvement. They tried to defend themselves. "We only asked for one liaison," the High Speaker cried in one debate broadcast. "We had no idea they would bring a fleet." A drunken ambassador snorted. "You're lucky they didn't bring 2. Behind the curtain of political tension, however, the Threxari were changing. They began reworking their diplomatic protocols. They added one clause to every future aid request. It read, "Do not deploy human assistance without explicit force limitations." Yet still, some factions wanted the humans. A few rebel colonies under siege whispered of sending out false Threxari distress signals just to summon the Terrans. One such faction tried it. They forged a Threxari signature, used an old emergency channel, and broadcast a plea from a mining colony under attack by pirates. The humans responded in less than 5 minutes. This time, they didn't send a fleet. They sent one ship. It arrived in silence. A stealth dreadnought, blacker than void, bearing no emblem or identification, simply appeared above the colony. Pirates laughed, then aimed their weapons. The dreadnought didn't fire a beam. It didn't send troops. It spoke. In Galactic Common, it said one sentence. "You impersonated our allies." The planet's orbit ignited in a ring of silent detonations. The pirate ships didn't just explode. They ceased to exist. No one faked a human call for help again. Back on Earth, in the deep chambers of Terran Unified Command, Admiral Voss sat quietly reviewing the reports. The aides asked him the same question every time. Why do we respond like that to minor threats? He always gave the same answer. Because one day, it won't be a minor threat. And when that day comes, the galaxy must already know the answer to a single question. What happens when you call for humanity? He leaned back in the chair, eyes focused on a galaxy map glowing red in 100 sectors. "You don't get help," he said softly. "You get consequences."